So quietly, all this money by the billions is leaving. And so the only thing you can do to people who can't find meaningful jobs with politicians like him and AOC and all the rest of it is say, give me free stuff. Give me free bus rides. Give me free subway. Give me free food. Don't make me work, just like we did in the Soviet Union and in North Korea. Well, we know how that ends very, very badly. And I think that's going to happen in New York, a slow decay of economic wealth.
Billionaire Canadian clown Kevin O'Leary joins Piers Morgan on Piers Morgan Uncensored just to get smacked down by former New York City Mayor Bill DeBlasio. They go back and forth on what they think about the probable next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Kevin makes some silly points, of course, but then Piers tries to set him up to turn this debate pretty ugly, and he doesn't take the bait, which I gotta give him respect for. So let's watch some clips, and I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards.
Okay, Bill de apparently we're heading towards North Korea if this progressive socialist gets into power.
I am not going to start learning Korean. Sorry, Piers. It's not coming our way. Here's the deal. Since the pandemic, you'll remember we were the epicenter of the pandemic in the United States. Right before the pandemic, I'm proud to say as mayor, we got to our highest job total ever in our history, 4.5 million jobs. Well, we lost some jobs because of the pandemic, and guess what? They have come back and then some. So I'm sorry that the facts are different than my colleague is saying. The fact is New York City is booming. We are producing new millionaires all the time. Now, I agree. I think in the spirit of Zohran, it's good to be truth-telling. Yeah, some people have left for Florida. That is a true statement. And some of that is philosophical for sure. But our economy is strong enough, and our history as being a center of entrepreneurship and creativity and unparalleled energy. If you're active in the global economy, you have to be in New York. That is a reality, and that's how businesses comport themselves. So I disagree that policies that would be common in Western Europe to make transportation affordable, to make sure people have supermarkets in their neighborhoods, we're only talking about trying to make sure basic human needs are met. That actually makes for a stronger city and a more sustainable city. We are the global capital of capitalism. That's not changing. But we have to be a place that people can afford. By the way, I talk to young professionals all the time. You know, I did free early childhood education, pre-K for all. And I talk to young professionals who say if it were not for that benefit, they would not be able to stay in New York and contribute to our economy and our growth. So people in the most expensive city in America, they do need some special supports. But what do they give back for those supports? They help us create an incredibly vibrant economy. Where are you going to find a single city with over 4.5 million jobs anyplace else? And so I just think this sky is falling mentality. We've heard it. We heard it after 9/11. We heard it after the recession. We heard it as COVID hit that New York City was going to be over. And you know, what are we going to do? But guess what? Property. Look at rents. Look at property values higher than ever. Doesn't that say something about how much people want to be here?
Okay, Kevin. So Kevin, you're a doom monger, painting an apocalyptic picture, which many people have done over the years that never materializes.
No. I'm not a doom monger. I'm just dealing with facts. What's the highest tax rate you can possibly get in the United States of America? New York City. Where is the lowest value for your taxes? New York City. And in terms of being the only place on earth where capital is flowing to, au contraire, mes amis, let's go to Abu Dhabi. Let's go to Doha. Let's go to London, England. Let's go to Switzerland and Zurich, where all the competition's occurring. New York is not the only place you can put money to work. And look, I love New York City. I have family there. I choose not to live there. I choose not to pay taxes there. I choose to see the Rockettes.
A major problem with these type of debates when you have someone who's giving the billionaire perspective is treating him with some type of respect or decency. Kevin O'Leary does not earn or deserve any of that. He's talking from the perspective of corporations that crush people. That's what he's arguing for. He's saying money is gonna leave, but it's not. Even if the people who are billionaires move from New York City, they are not taking their corporations with them. Unless they're going to uproot all of their employees, they're not going to do that. Walmart's not going to do that. Apple's not going to do that. It's just a scare tactic, and it shouldn't be responded to as if it's a good point. It's not a good point. It's a stupid point. Billionaires can live wherever they want in the world. If they choose to live in New York City, it's not because taxes. And if they choose to move, it's not going to be because taxes. Nonsense. And a mayor's job is to better the city for the people who live there. If you don't want to live there, watch out. And again, Kevin is Canadian. Shout out to all my Canadians. Some of them watch the channel. What's up? How you? But they have healthcare for everybody. We don't have that here. So does that make them North Korea or whatever? And the taxes that Mamdani wants to raise on the most profitable corporations are just to match those of New Jersey, the socialist capital of the world, apparently. Nothing that Kevin O'Leary talks about or is gonna talk about focuses on and prioritize regular people, only billion-dollar corporations.
And just think about what this means when people sail up the Hudson years and years, decades ago, to be free from abusive taxation, only to find her there in the most heavily taxed, most difficult policy, most anti-business environment in the United States. That is not the American dream. The Statue of Liberty represents the American dream, and now she's dealing with the American nightmare in terms of policy. I am not the only person that feels this way. I am not a doom-monger, but I'm saying watch out, New York. There's plenty of competition domestically in states like Texas and Florida, and internationally as we digitize the economy. I would be very concerned if I were in New York City watching this kind of policy. I have no qualm about the success this politician's had. He's played it perfectly, but there's a cost to bad policy. I don't make money with politicians. I don't care. They come and go. This guy's going to be gone soon too. But the slow erosion of the competitiveness of New York State and New York City is evident to capital from all around the world. And I'm just one voice pointing it out. I don't see doom. I'm going back to New York next week. I love it. I'll make damn sure I'm not there 6 months in a day, though.
Kevin, just quickly on the question of the fact that he's a Muslim, it does seem to have brought out the worst in certain people, talking about 9/11 and all this kind of thing. And yet, as I was talking to Bill earlier, it was very striking that in the stampede of young people who raced to vote for Mamdani, many of them were young Jewish people. So they clearly don't have any problem with him being a Muslim. What do you make of the attention around his religion?
Listen, I believe one of the reasons America is so successful is we allow every religion. You can pray to any God you wish, and that's so valuable. You only realize how much you want that when you go to a place where you can't do it. But I don't, look, he can be any religion he wants. It's his policy I care about. And I have lots of Muslim friends and lots of Muslims working for me. I respect that religion. I really do, as I do the Jewish religion, as I do the Catholic religion, of which I'm a member, Irish Catholic. It doesn't get any tougher than that. And so, to me, that is not what we're talking about here. It may have some resonance in terms of people's concern, or if there's some way don't like him because of it, that's just wrong. That's un-American.
He started off lying by saying he doesn't care about the politicians that are in power anywhere. That is a lie, because billionaires make their money by being on the right side of policy. How do you make sure you're always on the right side of policy? By bribing politicians. And if Mamdani is a socialist like he says he is, hopefully he won't take money from corporate powers. Hopefully he won't pick up when the billionaires call him to try to ease up on the raising of the minimum wage, or rent freezes on the thousands of apartments they have, are using our tax money to have a free public transportation because they want regular people's lives to be miserable, because that's how they'll have leverage over us. That's the reason why our health insurance is tied to our jobs, so that you can't leave one without losing the other. But then Piers gives him a life jacket by throwing an evil alley-oop, and Kevin O'Leary, to my surprise, swats it down. He said, I don't care about none of that. I only disagree with him because he fights for people. I don't care about his religion. That's un-American. Who cares about that? Which we could disagree on everything in regards to political stances and policy, but we have to give credit where credit is due. We have to be fair. It would have been very easy to throw a slight jab or a dog whistle in there and play into what Piers wanted this debate to turn into, some mudslinging. So that was cool. If we're keeping score, you get 1 point. You was in the negatives, but now you've made your way back to 0. Good job.
But the policy is not right. And so I would, I'm probably going to have to deal with this mayor at some point. I will tell him how I feel about his policies and why he should think about them a little bit more. Because I like to bring the generalist view, the competitive view. I invest all around the world and I represent economies everywhere. And I think that's important. I do not want to see the city where my daughter lives turn into, I don't know, Los Angeles. I mean, that's a pretty bad place.
Okay.
That's another example of bad
Hold on
policy.
now.
All right, Bill.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
If Mamdani is half of what he says he is, hopefully he won't answer those calls, because they're just going to be, make sure those people don't actually get pay raises. Make sure we get to control what you do, and make sure all of your policies are all watered down and don't actually help anybody. They're just paintings on the walls or on the floors, and you wear a special type of jacket to show that you're with the people, but you're actually with the business class. You're actually with the billionaire class, the real parasite class. But recently, Mamdani just hired some DNC Obama staffers, which is never a good sign for any campaign, because they're infiltrating just to corrupt it from the inside. So hopefully, if you're listening to this, I don't know why, but shout outs to you, fire those people. They are going to bring you down something vicious. And then they'll tell you, like they did to Bernie, we told you so. You can't win actually fighting for people. Don't let them do that to you, please.
the folks who came up the Hudson River long ago were seeking religious freedom, not freedom from taxation. And I want to say, picking up, and I thought Kevin was very heartfelt, and I agree with him on the beauty of a society, the necessity of a society that allows for all religions and beliefs. New York City is the exemplar of that, which is why we have attracted the greatest talent from all over the world. And this is the X factor. I'm not saying there aren't other places to invest. I understand that. But what we have that is absolutely beyond compare, the greatest pool of talent, certainly anywhere in the country, I would say anywhere in the world, because people are attracted to the culture, to the vibrancy, to the entrepreneurship, to the creativity, and that has not changed one iota, regardless of every crisis. In fact, COVID, great example, we faced an incredible crisis. The city came together, we showed our strength and resiliency. It made people believe in us more. Point one. Point two, Kevin, with all due respect, the value proposition when you pay your taxes in New York City, the finest police force on earth, the finest firefighters on earth, the finest health department on earth, when you saw how the health apparatus of this city fought back against COVID, and we went from epicenter to a place that was highly vaccinated and one of the safest places in the country in less than a year. The capacity of the public service of New York City to serve people is extraordinary, unparalleled. Yes, it costs money, there's no doubt. But the product is there. I will guarantee you what the NYPD does every day, worth its weight in gold, worth every tax dollar you spend.
Bill, let me ask you.
So I think, please.
I'm going to make a point. If Mamdani is the great hope now for the Democrats, and he's going to, transform New York and so on, why has the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, held back from endorsing him? If he's this good, why are senior Democrats not piling in?
Yeah, I think that's a huge mistake. I have a lot of respect for Hakeem Jeffries. I know him well. I think it's a mistake. Because here we have someone, now the full count of the primary is in. He won 56% of the vote against a former governor, 100% known to the people of this city, obviously someone with many scandals too. But the point is there was intense competition. And Mamdani won 56% of the vote in the Democratic primary in a city that is 6-1 Democratic registration. So I think it's time for Democratic leaders to recognize not only did he win fair and square, he's saying the things that people care about, and he's not saying them insincerely. He's saying them from the heart.
And that's what I mean. When you're debating one of these ghouls from a position of weakness, you start bragging about how good the NYPD is. Stop. The NYPD is bigger than some countries' whole militaries. That's not good. That's not good for any city. They don't prevent crimes, and they're late to respond to crimes when they actually happen. So bragging about how the NYPD gets billions of dollars a year in budgets is not a good thing. You sound like an idiot. Stay on topic on how Mamdani had the most votes ever in a New York City primary. So who cares what Hakeem Jeffries thinks? If he ran for president or for mayor of New York City, he would lose handedly. If he ran for president, he wouldn't get any votes. So it doesn't matter what he says. No one respects him. And that's why he gets leadership inside the Democratic Party. DeBlasio was a decent mayor, but it's good that he's out of office because this is how he governed. Clearly, he has a good heart and wants to help people, but would accept those phone calls telling him not to. And we don't need that. But what do you think about the situation? Who do you agree with? Kevin O'Leary or Bill DeBlasio? Let me know in the comment section. And if you're still watching, you might as well like the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace.